Hi, happy Sunday. Just gonna defrag my mind and have a little rant or ramble. Not a rant, I'm not angry or anything, but allow myself to free flow. And I hope everybody's feeling good. I'm feeling much better today, but it's been quite a trippy 24, 48 hours, and I felt like my energetic field has been weak and compromised and open to attack, however I've perceived that. So a few things have cropped up in my reality which have mirrored that vibration which I was holding inside, and have shown me some things that I need to look at. And I've been umming and ahhing whether to go into details about this, and maybe I will further on in this video, but right now I'm not. Basically, everything for me comes back to self-worth and self-doubt, and these are, I feel like, some of my last hurdles that I'm trying to get through in order to fully love myself and embrace myself and, finally let go of the fear. The thing with me during this journey, and I've been on like a journey of self-realisation for about 3 years, that was kicked off with psychedelics and psychedelic research and mental health research and just trying to heal myself. But like I've said in these videos before, March 2018 was a big turning point for me, this crazy sort of forced awakening and these downloads of information, and it's been super accelerated path since then. And yeah, I'm going onwards and upwards, but sometimes, there's a few troughs with the upward trajectory. Woo! So yeah, yesterday and the day before I was like irritable, agitated, vigilant, and it was all relating to fear, and also all of it was as a result of being on the internet. And so I've got to start practicing what I preach more. I feel like I'm super aware, for me personally, of how videos can be wrapped up and edited and manipulated and polished in a way that turns it from information into more of a program where it subconsciously or subliminally is getting into your brain and your perception, and then your reality starts matching that. And pick your narrative, there's millions of them, isn't there? But for me, most of them, if not all of them, they do come with all this fear attachments. And I feel like I've started to notice how the AI is infiltrating like humans' minds, the hive mind or whatever, and how the sort of merge of AI and the human, how the transhuman is coming to life. And it's not how I imagined it. It's more ripping the life out of us, turning us into zombies, or whatever. And so I'm super skeptical of technology, AI, videos that I watch, information that I consume, how it's been spun and told to me as well. I notice speech patterns in people, what tone they use, the patterns of the speech, how people can decide to string their words out to influence you in a different way. That wasn't very good, but you know what I mean. It's the way people say things, and yeah, like I've said before, a lot of it just feels like programming to me rather than information. And so usually I just switch off, but yesterday I didn't. Kids went to the dad's and I started looking at some stuff that I thought I was kind of strong enough to deal with. Nothing massively sort of disturbing, I was just looking into targeted individuals and gang stalking a little bit more to just try and understand the whole scope of things. And I watched a documentary, and then I watched a few YouTube videos from people that are experiencing gang stalking and targeting. And during this video that I chose to watch, this name and handle and profile popped up of somebody that's been infiltrating rhesus negative groups with malware or virus software, I don't know, whatever. And this person is someone that's been commenting on my bloody videos for about 6 months. So I was like, oh God, and then it made me feel a million different things, predominantly like fear and paranoia for a while. But then I was like, this person was nice to me, so I just sort of like didn't think twice about, you know, just being a bit more cautionary like I usually would do about strangers on the internet, you know. When I do these videos, sometimes it ultimately helps me, and I made a pact to myself to do him and to keep doing him, so I just keep doing him, and my soul is drawn to do these videos, and I don't feel happy if I've not expressed, you know, and kept to my word. But sometimes it's more grief than joy for me, because I have to look at myself in a million different ways, watching the videos back or commenting, or just, you know, seeing myself through a million different lenses, I think, and viewpoints, and always being hard on myself as well, and this self-doubt shit, and blah-de-blah-de-blah. But yeah, just regardless of that, you know, I've had to look inside and adjust my frequencies last night, and I'm feeling much better and stronger today, and I'm finding the humour again in a little bit of things. Just wanted to acknowledge this sort of trippy, testy sort of energy. And so for me, the internet, I've said before, it's like a 3D version of the ether, and in the ether is the spiritual warfare, the invisible mind fuckery, the games that we play on ourselves with the help of others, you know, sometimes. So the internet is the playground of spiritual warfare, because where better a place to hide behind invisible, faceless, nameless accounts and, you know, start fucking with people's minds. So it's just a whole load of tomfoolery on the internet, and it's designed to keep you in fear. All these fear porn narratives, all these things are designed to keep you there. And I've spoken about this before, but I'm just going to quickly recap, because I think it can be helpful, but I don't know, it's helpful for me anyway, and I'm having to heed my own advice. So this time last year, when I started doing videos and looking on YouTube, I came across information about rhesus negatives, targeted individuals, and gang stalking. And while I was consuming that information and sort of learning about it, I guess, the external started to match my internal perception. So I was consuming all this shit, it interfered with my interface, and then what I saw began to match. So I would see much more of the helicopters and the planes and the psyops that we call it, you know, and coincidental, happy little distractions, you know, that type of thing. The spiritual warfare. And so I had 2 really difficult months where I was feeling this fear frequency, and then I learned my lesson and I stopped watching and consuming and listening to this type of material, and I got myself out of that mindset, that paradigm, that frequency that it's designed to keep you in. So my thoughts on gang stalking and targeted individuals, they're not rounded up yet, because I still don't know enough. The problem is I don't want to consume this stuff to know more, so I'm just these are just sort of organic, original thoughts, which I don't want to disrespect anybody, because I believe that everybody's truth is their own, and I completely believe that many people who claim to be targeted individuals or gang stalked are experiencing spiritual warfare. I'm just always trying to figure out through my own experience how much is solely controlled by us and how much is, you know, an actual reality controlled by others. And I think it's a dance, you know. So my point is, when you remove yourself from these fear frequencies, which can be as simple as changing the material that you're consuming online, don't look at these types of things. And I found one yesterday, like I said, which is how I found that, but I noticed that over the year that I've not been looking at this, the topic has just grown and grown and grown. And like I said, although I know that there's truths in it, I think it's also potentially designed and manipulated, the whole sort of narrative around this, to keep you in the fear and the paranoia and the anxiety by embellishing and dramatising without understanding yourself, your part in it. So I don't really like the exponential rate that this type of experience is being felt by so many people on an awakening path. Yeah, because I think it just keeps you in that fear and that dualistic mindset of victim perpetrator, you know. Again, I've not rounded my thoughts up on this, and I need to ponder it a little bit more, but yeah, basically, I think the only thing I can say from my own experience is that if you feel like you're being targeted and you're noticing patterns in things and behaviours which you would deem suspicious, or you feel there's energetic interference, and you know, however that is displayed, we do have the control with our consciousness to let go of the fear and to rise above it and to see above it. So I still see the planes and the helicopters and the patterns and the psyops and whatever, but I like to think that I am creating it myself, for my own lessons or for whatever. And if I see it as something outside of me and not connected to me, I don't reside within the fear frequency of that. So it literally is a shift of perspective away, and that didn't sound right, but it's the stuff that we're consuming, you know, that's what it is. And it's such a murky ground, the bloody internet. It's horrible, you know. And there's so much, there's so much homogenising of experience and jumping on the bandwagon of everybody else's internal perspective, that these massive, crazy, fearful paradigms and narratives are created, and people fall into them blindly. And like I've said before, I've done it many times, but YouTube is a ground for spiritual warfare. So I occasionally come across things, or you know, I have something come towards my channel or me or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, you know, it's that interfering, distracting, infiltrating energy of the invisible, because people hide behind nameless, faceless accounts. So anyway, yeah, but I was just feeling like I could see how the AI sort of fear, black, gooey frequency infiltrates, and we perpetuate it. People that make YouTube videos, mostly, you know, the fear porn stuff and whatnot, we're just perpetuating it, and we're keeping people in these fear, paranoia, anxiety loops, when we really need to be addressing the lesson that the experience is showing you, the gang stalking or the experience of that is showing you, and try and sort of learn the lessons from that and teach that to others, as opposed to just all getting together in our groups of victims and you know, bringing life to the experience. But like I said, you know, it's completely legit. It really is. It just depends how you are perceiving that. And if you're perceiving it with strength, that's great. You know, I know that a lot of people feel, once they get through the initial fear or paranoia of the experience that's being displayed, where they feel like they're targeted or they're gang stalked or whatever, they can find strength within it, you know, and they can feel like they can feel strength from the situation eventually, once you've gone through all your shit. But yeah, it's a murky ground, and I'm going to try and round up my thoughts on this, but I just find that it's dangerous sometimes. It's like, awareness is brilliant, but when pure awareness gets infiltrated by others just needing to relate to somebody, then it all gets taken out of context, and you know, it's not what it originally was. There's so much stuff now, isn't there, on targeting and gang stalking, and especially connected with rhesus negatives. And so I don't want to let the side down, you know. It's like, I believe that people's individual experiences are true, and there's there seems to be a very high number of rhesus negatives who experience this phenomena. So, I don't know, I'm just talking about how I got myself out of that phenomena, which didn't last long, but it was a direct result of consuming this information and then it becoming my reality. What we believe, we perceive, you know? So yeah, I don't know. I just know that if I can rid myself of these last bits of self-doubt and self-worth, which for me it feels completely ancestral in terms of karma, the self-worth of the female side of the family, and I've got to get rid of this, and I've got to start loving myself and finding, you know, the permanency in that state of loving myself. Because if I don't do that, no matter what I say to my daughter, which I hope she believes what I say, which is the truth, which is you're the most incredible, amazing girl in the world. But if I don't believe that I am, then she won't believe she is. And that's what happened with me and my mum and her mum and blah, 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 blah. So, you know, it's deep-seated, this self-loathing and this very little self-worth. And it's obviously patterned in cycles of relationships and addictions and explosive traits in my particular bloodline, and I've experienced and lived through a lot of it, and I'm still just out working it, if you know what I mean. So my rage is really no longer an issue. It used to be a massive issue, you know. I'd sit with this, whether I did anything or said anything, I'd sit with this rage feeling within me, which I don't anymore. I think I've managed to get rid of most of that. Addictions, I'm still working on tobacco addiction and I think coffee addiction, you know, so it's probably sugar. And, you know, all the things that I'm starting to see about myself, which I am having to address, and it's like not looking after myself, you know, the health, the worth of myself, you know, that type of thing. So, I knew I'd get there, you know, soon, but it's like, oh God, I've really had to look inside and gone, right, okay, you can help yourself now and you can love yourself, and that's all right to do. I always had this sort of feel of, which is obviously laced in projection, envy and jealousy, but I would look at someone who seemed to have a lot of ego and I'd be like, she fucking loves herself, or he loves himself, or who do they think they are? And it was projection because I couldn't love myself. So I'm still struggling with it. I'm still fucking struggling. And these videos, they do give me jip sometimes. They make things worse for me. And things that I don't think, things that I didn't think would have affected me have affected me just by putting my stupid face on YouTube and saying what I want without thinking, you know. But in the last couple of days, along with this fear frequency that I've been addressing and trying to transmute or dismiss, has been my sort of, my true soul inside that's like going, come on, just keep going. Say what you fucking want. If people don't resonate or they want to cause a bit of aggro or whatever or distract you, let them be. Just let them be and don't let it affect you and take you off your path, you know. Not everybody is going to like what we say all the time, and people take things personally, and, you know, and it's all just the problem of the person receiving it. Same as, you know, I'm addressing that this shit in the last 24, 48 hours. It's all my doing. It's not the faceless, nameless fucktards, you know, on YouTube. But yeah, this blooming sort of attempt to keep you in a lower frequency and to send you off your rocker, you know, I think essentially it's like, I feel like the sort of larger agenda at hand is that while so many of us are awakening and speaking our truths and just trying to suss things out and pass along little bits of gems and support each other and whatnot, just be free and true. Along with that is an agenda to isolate anybody whose view differs from the norm. And so anybody who's on this path and the feeling the higher frequencies that emanate in the light, we are going to be unfortunately targets for mockery or fuckery or, you know, spiritual warfare or whatever, and it's just one of those things. But like I said, it was super heightened for me yesterday and the day before, and I had a new sort of idea of how sneaky the AI infiltrates and the mind, basically, how the AI infiltrates the mind, and we've just got to be super careful. This is for me, as always, note to self, you know, use your discernment a bit more for me, you know. It's like I'll watch things and I've chosen to watch the wrong material the last couple of days, and it's served me right, and it's shown me a few lessons. So anyway, onwards and upwards. I've got a couple of baby bunnies downstairs. The kids have got 2 little baby bunnies, so they're super bloody cute and lovely. So I'm going to go and take them out and I've stroked some bunnies and cheer myself up a little bit now. And maybe go outside and, you know, spend the last hour or 2 I've got on my own before the kids come back. It's only 7:30 in the morning, but I've been up pretty much most of the night, as always happens when the kids go. And yeah, onwards and upwards, shifting my perspective today. I'm out of that awful frequency, which was slotted there into my centre through one video and one connection. So it was like, yeah, it was just a warning sign for me. It was like, you know, keep on your track, stay true to yourself, say what you want to say. This is for me and everybody else, obviously. Say what you want to say, and don't be put off your path by anyone or anything else. It's a super weird but exciting time to be alive, I guess. And yeah, that's it. Super exciting time to be alive. I'm just trying to keep my connection to my higher self as strong as I can, and funnily enough, my dreams in the last 2 days have been follow-ons from subconscious thoughts that I'd not rounded up. And ain't that the way of life, you know? That's what sort of manifests. Your thoughts become your reality, and even in your dreams, you know, you're still sifting through your subconscious and trying to understand thoughts. So yeah, it's a very interesting journey and evolution for me. And I know I sound crazy, you know, not to people who watch this, but to many other people I'll sound nuts, and a lot of people don't even know what I'm talking about, and that's all right as well. That's fine. That's par for the course, you know, whatever. So yeah, bit of humour today for me. I'm going to watch a few funny things and just try and bring that playful sense back into my field, which has been definitely compromised in this last couple of hours. I've felt horrendous, heavy energies. So I'm always contemplating again if it's just me or if it's part of a collective, and does it matter? Probably, you know, I feel my part in both, it for me and, you know, as a collective for everybody else. So I just wanted to mention it. And yeah, just to be careful of what we consume. Yeah, and what we allow to sit in and sink into our subconscious and remind us of our old programming of self-worth and, you know, all the other issues that we've had. So I've got a lot to work on, and I've had a few realisations smacking me across the face in the last couple of days, but I'm staying on my track, and I'm keeping my connection to my higher self and my soul, and onwards and upwards, you know. Just beware of the internet, because it's the battleground for spiritual warfare. It's where spiritual warfare is brought to life and manifested in your physical reality with the energies that you receive through videos or comments or emails or whatever, you know. So protect yourselves, dear ones. And happy Sunday. Bye.